Welcome to the Morehouse School of Medicine Online Education and Expanded Programs podcast. We are so excited to have you join us. Please listen as we promote health equity and focus on improving the health and well-being of individuals and communities. Our goal is to increase diversity throughout the healthcare profession and scientific workforce. Make sure to follow us on all social media platforms and enjoy the show. Welcome to the Online Education and Expanded Programs podcast, OEEP podcast for short. I'm your host, Blake Crosby, and today we have the pleasure of sitting down with one of our student ambassadors. Today, I am proud to introduce Ms. Capri Bell. Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
That's good. That's good. So please just give us a little background information about who you are. We're so excited to have you, so excited to highlight you. If for anyone listening, our student ambassadors were hand-selected by our program directors due to their excellence in the classroom and their ability to impact community. So Ms. Bell, just tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and the program that you're in.
Perfect. So, a little bit about me. My name is Capri Bell. I'm originally from Massachusetts. I moved to Georgia in 2015, and Georgia is home and has been home ever since. My background has been in leadership in the nonprofit sector for most of my career since undergrad. However, my educational background is in counseling and psychology. I just have always had a passion for people, understanding them, supporting them, and have just kind of found the nonprofit sector to be the realm that I've enjoyed to date. However, always envisioned going back to school to further my education and came across the doctorate in healthcare administration program at Morehouse School of Medicine. And it just felt like the perfect fit of like a combination of all of my educational passions and endeavors to date, leadership, and wanting to take a deeper dive into healthcare administration, social determinants of health, and really wanting to kind of bridge the gap between disparity and health equity. And so since I enrolled into the Doctorate of Healthcare Administration program last year, I am in my first year of the DHA program.
Woo!
Totally been the best decision I could have made. I do not regret it. Phenomenal leadership, phenomenal school, phenomenal program from top to bottom. And it has been a true blessing and amazing to be an ambassador, just to share all of the greatness of OEEP, Morehouse School of Medicine, and all of the degree programs that are here. I will also note, in addition to being a DHA student, I am also in the health science teaching certification program at the same time.
Wow.
And it has also been amazing. It has been another passion of mine. In leadership, we often are teachers, educators, in a different realm, maybe not in a school or institution sense, but definitely teaching and working closely to support staff and development. So I am doing that as well, and it has been amazing.
Yeah.
So I'll just toss it back to you, Blake.
Well, I just always think I'm of the generation where I've seen this transition from more of an analog, like paper kind of process to education, and now transitioning. I watched the birthing and creation of online education and virtual learning, and then we recently had the pandemic where even there was no in-person option at all in the world. Had to shut down and use technology to communicate and sustain institution and things of that nature. And so now that things have subsided, we know that, people are still being impacted by COVID-19, but it's no longer considered a pandemic anymore. Now with that change and a lot of things being open, and we could still notice some things that have not shifted back from COVID. But for you, like, how did you manage? Like, have you always been in an online space? Is this your first experience? And do you feel like it's better, or do you prefer virtual learning? What are the perks, and then what are some of the flaws that you experienced too?
Great question. And so To answer your question, this is actually my first time ever pursuing education online. Both of my prior degrees, my bachelor's and master's degree, were in person. And I will say, I don't think I would be back at school pursuing further education without an online degree option. I am a working professional, I am a single mom of two. So this was just the perfect fit in all aspects. And it has been an amazing experience. So this is my first educational experience virtually, but I do also work virtually. And I think that when you're in a working space, it's similar to education. You kind of find your way, you find your niche, you find out things that work well for you. Organization is key for me. And I think that is how it has just felt very fluid. When my workday ends, my school day begins, and it's just a repeat for me. And so I absolutely think it is a perfect fit for anybody wanting to go back to school that is a working professional that may have other commitments outside of that as well. And going to school physically, driving, and being in a space day to day is just not feasible. This is a perfect balance. I will say that I have still felt very much connected to leadership, to my peers. I really appreciate the way that Morehouse School of Medicine and OEEP does their cohorts for many of these programs. So you really, who you start with is who you finish with. So you really do build that rapport that I know everyone really desires when you're in person, and it happens a little bit more naturally in person.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate the way that it is still able to be done in a virtual space. I would say the one or two missing elements to being virtually and being in an online degree program is that you don't have the same connections to campus. You can still come, we have access, we could come on campus, but a lot of the things for like campus wide activities, maybe during the day or other times that are conflicted for an online student. So I'd say those are probably just the little nuggets that could be enhanced. Perhaps some other opportunities to just connect more regularly with the campus facility in a virtual space. So, like flipping it a little bit. So, instead of us
Mm.
having the opportunity to come there, maybe having the in-person students join a virtual space so we can kind of flip the coin here and there. But so far, so good. It has been a dream.
I think that's a phenomenal idea.
Yes.
And school-wide virtual
Yes.
education. See, this is why you need student ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, and non-gender conforming friends. You need student ambassadors because these people are in the trenches. These people are literally the glue, the oil to the machine that is education, our students, and to be able to get firsthand, perspective, firsthand experience from you all about what you'd like to see is just so is so thank you for that because we really do value that feedback and um, we'll be intentional about manifesting that. So we're speaking it into existence here and now that we will have some 100% virtual events that invite the entire school. Great.
Awesome.
So I hear, that you are in the DHA program. I hear that you are taking the health sciences teaching certificate certification, and you're also a single mother,
Yes.
and you're a working professional.
Yes.
I just wanted to put that out very clearly to everyone, okay? Because this is an individual who is in two programs. One is a doctorate program, raising two human beings, maintaining a job, and now she's also taking the time out of her day to record a podcast. I don't want to sleep on that because that's no small feat. And there are so many people who can find the reasons why they can't do a thing. And you have, I mean, you just have that spirit, that aura, that energy that says, the sky's limitless.
Absolutely.
Would you consider yourself to be an optimistic person?
I am, but I'd also say I'm a realist. But to your point, we still have all the same hours in the day as Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
And if you put your mind to it, you can do it and you can achieve it. But I will say, for me, and I am a very, very religious person, it's God. Without God, this would not be possible. So I remain deeply rooted in my faith. And keep those around you that are supporters of you, encouragers, because I get it gets hard. It does. But it's important when you make a decision that you see it through. And if you really want to do something, you can create your space to make it happen and make it come to life. And so that has definitely been something that has been really effective for me, knowing that I am balancing so many things every single step of the day, all day. And just time management, knowing that you're not always going to get everything done 100%, but prioritizing it and making sure that everything in your life is getting the space and the attention that it deserves, especially your education.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The same hours in the day as Beyonce. I was in right there.
Right?
I was in right there. The same hours of the day as Beyonce. And we see what Beyonce's doing. She's currently on tour,
That's right.
daughter and all, on stage, killing it. And so we got Beyonce time. We could do Beyonce things. We could do our version of a Beyonce thing. So wow, Capri, you're phenomenal. My goodness.
Thank
I am
you.
just really truly humbled. So I we focus on like diversity and inclusion um, at Morehouse School of Medicine. You know, that is our goal. That is our the most important thing to us, that we create positions, we open space for our people to impact health disparities, to reshape the way healthcare is experienced in this country. Um, and I think, if you're not aware already of some of the things that people of color experience in a healthcare space, I urge any listener to research that, research health equity, and research some of the systematic ways things are designed to marginalize people. And so, just speaking from your own experience and what you've seen as a working professional, as a student, just as a member of our society, um, what is your goal, and what do you hope to do to impact health equity?
Great question. So many things. I think for me, when I look at just being, a person that is Black and brown, and all of the obstacles we have to endure all the time, and then thinking about health and what that means, and why I aspired to pursue a degree in healthcare administration, is that we often hear not only from the patient side of the different barriers, the social determinants of health, the different barriers of how they can be treated when they are in a healthcare facility, or how they were or weren't treated, and then also the flip side of that, the staffing that sometimes you hear in healthcare institutions share similar health equity challenges, discrimination, you name it. So for me, my desire is to really be an integral role in a major healthcare institution where I can help support not only the patient experience, ensuring the quality care, but supporting the staff. Because without staff, without nurses that are in the forefront, without those that are direct patient care personnel, you don't have a healthcare workforce. And I feel like often they are undervalued, underrepresented. You don't have diversity there. I think it's so key that each organization also has DEIB initiatives, not even just DEI. Let's include the B.
Yeah, the
Should
belonging.
feel that they belong. And I feel like
Mhm.
often you have healthcare institutions that have DEI, but what is that without the B? So I think that for me, things that really drive me are ensuring that staff are respected, staff are centered, patient experiences are equitable, are quality care, that there are initiatives rooted from the top, which is so key, to the bottom, and reflective of how we are going to be intentional in really um, bridging that gap between disparity and equity, and in ensuring that people feel like they belong in that healthcare institution, for any reason, for any ailment, for any condition, and then they're not being overlooked because of the color of their skin. So those are just some of the major things that kind of keep me up at night. I have many family members that have worked in healthcare and still do, and when I just hear of some of the things that they have to endure, even from some peers, it's just, no one should have to do that when your job is to take care of people that are sick day to day, and you're being overlooked because of the color of your skin, or underappreciated. You don't have enough time to eat lunch. These are some of the things that I think are, on the grand scheme of things, they seem small, but they are so vitally important. And if and when I finish this degree, if I can make a difference in any of those areas, I would feel so fulfilled that I have made some impact, because there's a lot of work to be done, and we know that there's many barriers in healthcare, among other sectors. But I think it starts with hiring the right people in healthcare administration, hiring diversity in healthcare administration, knowing that you don't see a lot of Black and Brown people in these positions, and that's part of the missing link.
Right. Absolutely. Well said. And so, with you having these goals, right? We know what you currently balance, we know where you're headed, we know what your desires are. Um, what are some things, some tools, some tips that you might offer other students around time management? What do you think some keys to your success are? What are some of the things that help you sustain and balance all the things that you're juggling?
For me, organization, if it's not on my calendar, it's not happening. So I map out my days, I map out my weeks, and I map out my months. I'm also someone that is a firm believer that you should stay ahead of the curve so you're never up against a deadline. So I always want to build in time to look ahead. So let's say in my courses, I finished an assignment. A day break or two is important, but it's important that I stay ahead of that. So I will definitely be that student that's in there looking ahead to week 2, week 3, just so I can get a gauge of what is expected. What are the readings that may be due? What are some of the expectations that are coming? So that way it doesn't feel shocking when I'm in the trenches. And then also, we do understand that sometimes things you could plan, but sometimes things get out of whack and throw your whole routine out of sorts. So if you can just stay ahead of the curve, um, I think that has been a saving grace for me. So definitely use of calendars. I really feel that you should have an electronic calendar and a paper calendar. I also have a wall calendar. I also have found that it is time and it's so vitally important that as you are giving so much of yourself to school, to family, to career, that you give time back to yourself.
Yeah.
So something for me is, self care,
Hmm.
fitness, health, wellness, making sure that I'm healthy. If I'm not healthy, I cannot complete a degree. If I'm not healthy, I can't take care of my family. I cannot go to work. So that is so important, first and foremost, that you have time that you're investing in yourself. You can't be giving away to everything because then you'll have fumes for you. So I've made that a priority. So wellness, self-care, absolutely fitness, organization in terms of the hours in my day. I also find little nuggets of opportunity. So let's say I have a lunch break. No, I'm not going to be doing schoolwork, but maybe I'll take a look at my agenda to see what's coming this evening or what's coming this week. So I could just be prepared. I just like to really be in touch with kind of what's coming on my radar for school, for family, even. I plug everything in, even when it comes to my children, what time they need to be picked up. Are there certain things that they need for school? I think that that's so important to maximize your day and maximize your time. So those have been really, really helpful for me. And I think also leaning into a support group, making sure you have some key people that have your back and you can call on them if you need a nap. You can
Right.
call on them if you need a break. These things are so important, and I found them to be vitally effective.
My goodness. I listen, my next question was going to be, well, what are some things that you do to practice self-care?
Yes.
And you just completely knocked that out the park. Um, well, it has been absolutely amazing doing this talk with you, getting to know you better. Um, and tell us, is there anything, that you're working on right now? Any achievements that you want us to note? Um, and what do you envision yourself doing in the future after post graduation?
Great question. Well, I'd say right now, currently, I'm super excited. The DHA course that I'm enrolled in, it's relationship building, and we have been charged to identify an urban city and an healthcare institution that we want to kind of hone into and focus in on and identify areas of opportunity. How are they addressing social determinants of health and relationship building, conflict resolution, and you name it. And it has been amazing. And I really appreciated it because in every, not only this assignment, but every assignment, there's Morehouse School of Medicine does a great job, especially in the DHA program, with really focusing on social determinants of health in all of those aspects. But for me, this has been such an exciting course because I was able to use my home city, Massachusetts. So I identified Boston, Massachusetts as my city, and really have had enjoyment to really diving into a major healthcare institution in Boston and have learned so much. I feel like even when you think you know a lot of an area, you can always learn more. So that is something that I'm super proud of right now that I'm working on. For the teaching certification course, we're approaching the final term. And so we're
Woo!
kind of going to be diving into portfolio and practicum. So just a lot of great things happening. And I'm very proud that I can confidently say I'm a 4.0 student, and that makes me very, very proud
I know
because
that's right.
I can't say I've always been a 4.0 student, but I can proudly say Morehouse School of Medicine, OEP, I am a 4.0 student, and I pray to continue that wave throughout my educational journey here. And so, to answer your question, what do I envision? So, when I finish the DHA program, I would love to be a major play a major role as a healthcare administrator at a well-known large institution. But starting out, my desire would probably be to start off in consulting work, consulting, to just immerse myself in more of the community and at a greater scheme of kind of healthcare administration from the external um, facets, but also working with possibly multiple healthcare institutions with consulting work is kind of how I envision my first step. And then ultimately landing as a major healthcare administrator, a CEO for a major institution, while also teaching at Morehouse School of Medicine in the future.
I know
Once
that's right.
once I finish the teaching certification. So I think it's important that we give back and that we apply our expertise to the future generations to come. So that's kind of what I have envisioned for my future.
Man, listen here, y'all. There are no students like OEEP students. I'm going to say that proudly. There are no students like OEEP students. And yes, you will work at Morehouse School of Medicine. Yes, you will have everything you desire and it will multiply. And I just truly pray and wish you nothing but growth, territory, and love consistently across the board. Thank you so much for all that you do, because what people don't know and don't think about sometimes is like, well, you just do your best, not anyone else's work, but just your best. The way that the social impact that has on, it's a ripple effect. Everyone you come across is made better. Everyone you interact with is shown more ease and comfort and love and efficiency and excellence. And those things are contagious and they are transformative. So thank you for just being an awesome individual. However you impact your children, I know it's phenomenal. However you impact your studies are clearly phenomenal. Your workspace. So just continue to be well. Thank you so much for doing this. And we wish you the absolute best from OEEP to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you all so much. The best program ever.
So welcome. All right, guys, thank you all for listening. Stay tuned for another wonderful episode of the OEEP podcast. Goodbye.